Chapter 9 The Big Idea. Like the main character in a book, I was finally going to do something. I was going to read every book Mrs. Spencer and her friends had banned from the school library. I found the list in the newspaper in the library, just like Danny said. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, by Judy Blume. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, by Alvin Schwartz. Matilda, by Roald Dahl. Harriet the Spy, by Louise Fitzhugh. Wait Till Helen Comes, by Mary Downing Hahn. It's Perfectly Normal, by Robbie H. Harris. From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankenweiler, by E. L. Koenigsberg. All the Junie B. Jones books, by Barbara Park. All the Captain Underpants books, by Dave Pilkey. The Egypt Game, by Zilpha Keatley Snyder. All the Goosebumps books, by R. L. Stein. It wasn't exactly 11 books, like Mrs. Spencer said. It was way more than 11 books when you counted all the gajillion Goosebumps books and the big shelf of Captain Underpants and Junie B. Jones books. I had already read 5 of the books on the list, if you count reading a couple of Goosebumps and a couple of Junie B. Jones books. The others I'd read were Matilda, awesome, Harriet the Spy, awesome, and From the Mixed Up Files, super awesome, of course. I'd never heard of It's Perfectly Normal or The Egypt Game, but The Egypt Game sounded especially good. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and Wait Till Helen Comes I'd seen on the shelf, but I'd never checked them out because they look scary and I'm not a big fan of scary books. But I was definitely going to read Wait Till Helen Comes now. I hadn't read Captain Underpants either, and I didn't want to. Captain Underpants was stupid. I would read that one last. The only book I was worried about was Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I knew that book, of course. It was on the shelf right beside Judy Blume's other books, like Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, awesome, and Super Fudge, awesome. Shelbourne Elementary goes up through 6th grade, so some of the books in the library are for older kids. Are You There, God? Had a cover that said 6th grade to me, and I'd heard older girls whispering about it in the school bathroom, so I'd always stayed away from it. But I was resolved. I was going to read each and every one of the books Mrs. Spencer said I couldn't, just to spite her. I knew she'd never know, and that it wasn't like I was doing something that would help Mrs. Jones get the books back on the shelves. But I still felt a secret thrill at doing something an adult told me not to do. That afternoon I emptied my piggy bank out, not breaking it like Jamie did in From the Mixed Up Files, and counted it up. $21.76. That was enough for 2 paperbacks at least. I asked Mom and Dad if we could go to the bookstore that night, and their reaction was exactly what you'd expect. Are you sure that's what you want to spend your money on? Dad asked. Why do parents always say that when you tell them you want to buy something with your own money? I know what he really meant. He meant, I don't think that's how you should spend your money. Yes, that is what I want to spend my money on, I thought, and this time I actually said it. Mom and Dad had one of those silent conversations with their eyes again, and Dad sighed and said he'd run me to the bookstore after dinner. I need new shoes at the ballet store, Alexis said. Angelina hopped up and down. I want to go for frozen yogurt. I need to hit the office store, Mom said. If we left now, we'd just have time to grab tacos and do all 4. Suddenly, my trip to the bookstore had become a family outing. Before I could even think something I wasn't going to say, Dad was fishing his keys out of the bowl by the door, and the dogs were barking and whining about us leaving. Alexis, Angelina, and I climbed into the back of our car. Angelina's car seat was in the middle. I squeezed into one of the other sides, pushing toys and Cheerios onto the floor. The whole car still reeked of spoiled milk from the drink Angelina had spilled a month ago, and before we had even left the neighborhood, Thing 1 and Thing 2 were whining. The sun is on me, Alexis said. I'm hot. You can sit on the other side when we leave the office store, Dad told her, which meant I was going to have to sit on the hot side in the sun, but no one cared about that. Amy Ann is touching me, Angelina whined. Mom, Amy Ann is touching me. Amy Ann, please don't touch your sister, Mom said. Her car seat takes up half the back seat. How am I not supposed to touch her? Amy Ann, Mom said. I crossed my arms and slouched against the car door, trying to get as far away from Princess Angelina and her throne as possible. Now do you see why I never say anything? Nobody ever listens anyway. We're not going to be at the bookstore too long, are we? Alexis said. Not too long, no, Dad said. Not if we want to get all the other things done and be home before bedtime. Going to the bookstore was the whole reason we were going out in the first place, and now it was something we had to squeeze in so there'd be time for frozen yogurt. I closed my eyes and breathed deep. It didn't matter. I had enough money in my pocket for 2 paperbacks at least, and I already knew what books I wanted. Danny was going to loan me Wait Till Helen Comes, so I was going to buy The Egypt Game and It's Perfectly Normal, whatever that was, and I was going to read them both that very night.